Now let's discuss the another method of capital budgeting, that is internal rate of return method. So let's see what's the meaning of it. It is the rate at which present value of cash inflows is equal to present value of cash outflows. So it can be also represented as present value of cash inflows minus present value of cash outflows. So it is not at all different. See, I'll show you. Here from this we'll derive the first one. Okay, present value of cash inflows minus present value of cash outflows is equal to 0. It's given, right? When we take present value of cash outflows to the RHS, you are going to get present value of cash inflows is equal to present value of cash outflows, right? When you take this minus sign to the RHS, you are going to get it plus, right? So here present value of cash inflows is equal to present value of cash outflows. See here the first line, it is the rate at which present value of cash inflows is equal to present value of cash outflows. So that is another kind of representation we are doing. Okay, present value of cash inflows minus present value of cash outflows is equal to 0. So I have derived formula for calculating internal rate of return, and the formula is displayed on the screen. See, lower rate plus higher rate minus lower rate into present value of cash inflows at lower rate minus present value of cash outflows divided by present value of cash inflows at lower rate minus present value of cash inflows at higher rate. Okay, remember this formula, you have to remember this formula. Okay, so using this formula we are going to solve the questions regarding the internal rate of return. Okay, let's solve some questions regarding internal rate of return. Let's read the question. A project costs rupees 16,000 and it is expected to generate a cash inflow of rupees 8,000, 7,000, 6,000 at the end of the years for the next 3 years. Calculate internal rate of return given PV factors. Okay, PV factors is given for at 10%. Okay, 0.909, 0.826, 0.751. This is PV factor at 10%. Okay, and another PV factor is given at 16%, 0.862, 0.743, 0.641. Okay, now let's solve this question. First you have to write a heading, determination of internal rate of return. I have written in short form, you have to write the expanded form. Okay, determination of internal rate of return. After that, now we have to write present value of cash inflows at lower rate at 10%. Okay, after writing this heading, you have to draw this table. First is year, then cash flows, then present value factor at 10%. The next column is present value of cash inflows. The reason why we are doing this table is to find out this. Look at here, this value. Okay, this value, present value of cash inflows at lower rate, present value of cash inflows at lower rate. Then we are doing present value of cash inflows at higher rate. Okay, that is the second table that we'll be doing later. First we'll be doing present value of cash inflows at lower rate. Okay, now we have understood why we are doing this table. Okay, now let's complete this table. Okay, here in this question, cash inflows, it's already given, rupees 8,000, rupees 7,000, rupees 6,000. We'll write the same, rupees 8,000, 6,000, 7,000 and 6,000. Eight thousand, 7,000, 6,000 is the cash inflows. Okay, now I have already written the PV factor at 10%. Look at this. these values. Okay, PV factor at 10%. I have already written. Now, the next step is present value of cash inflows. How to find this? See, cash inflows, you have to multiply cash inflows and PV factor at 10%. So, here, for getting present value of cash inflows, I have to multiply 8,000 and 0.909. Okay. By multiplying, I will get 7272 as the answer. This is the present value of cash inflows. One part for year 1. Okay, for the second year, 7,000 into 0.826 I have to do. I will be getting the answer 5,782. Okay, now for the third year, 6,000 into 0.751. I will be getting the answer 4,506. Okay, now you have to add all the three values. 7,272 plus 5,782 plus 4,506. If I add all three, I will be getting 17,560 as the answer. So this value is required. Okay, this is the present value of cash inflows. Okay, now let's solve. Let's find out present value of cash inflows at higher rate. So here higher rate is 16%. Okay, now if I have to say 10% and 16%, whichever is high and low. This is the basic common sense, right? So 10 is lower rate, 16 is higher rate. Okay, the same logic, no changes in that. Okay, so we have taken lower rate at 10%, higher rate at 16%. Okay, I hope there is no confusion regarding it. So we have to write year 1, 2 and 3. Okay, now cash inflows, same thing, no changes. 8,000, 7,000 and 6,000. Okay, now PV factor at 16%. Don't write the same as we have solved above. No, it's different. Okay, look at the question. PV factor at 16%, 0.862, 0.743, 0.641. The same we have to write here. Okay, these value you have to write in the second table, not the first one. Okay, let's write down here 0.862, 0.743 and 0.641. 0.862, 0.743 and 0.641. Same for finding this also, you have to multiply 8,000 into 0.862. By multiplying, we will get 6,896. Okay, now 7,000 into 0.743. Okay, I will be getting 5,201. Next, 6,000 into 0.641. I will be getting the answer as 3,846. Now, if I add all these three values, 6,896 plus 5,201 plus 3,846, I will be getting the answer 15,943. Okay, so this value is very much required for while we solve the answer. Okay, now let's use the formula now. Okay, after doing this these two tables, now we have to write down the formula. I have already written here lower rate plus, you have to put bracket, higher rate minus lower rate into, again put a bracket, present value of cash inflows present value of cash inflows at lower rate minus present value of cash outflow divided by present value of cash inflows at lower rate minus present value of cash inflows at higher rate. Okay, after writing this, now we have to substitute the values. Now keep complete concentration here. The first here is lower rate. So here, as I said to you earlier, lower rate means which in 10 and 16, which is low? 10, right? So write down the same. Don't put percent, directly write 10. Okay, then plus bracket higher rate. Here higher rate is 16, right? 16 minus lower rate. Lower rate is 10, right? Then multiply. Put a bracket again. Excuse me. Here present value of cash inflows at lower rate. You have already calculated. Okay. Present value of cash inflows at lower rate. 17,560 you have got. Write this value. 17,560. 17,560 minus present value of cash outflow. Look at the question. Present value of cash outflow is the same. 16,000 is the present value of cash outflow. Okay. So project cost rupees 16,000. The same is the present value of cash outflow. Okay. There is no changes in that. 16,000 divided by present value of cash inflows at lower rate 17,560, right, minus present value of cash inflows at higher rate. Okay, higher rate is 15,943. This value we have to put here. Okay, 15,943. Okay, put a bracket. Now we have to solve. 10 plus 16 minus 10, 6 into. Now we have to subtract. Okay, the numerator first, then later on denominator. Put a bracket here. 17,560 minus 16,000, you will get 1,560 is the answer for the numerator, and 17,560 minus 15,943, you will get 1,617 as the answer. Put a bracket. Now 10 plus, okay, 10 plus, now we have to write 6 again. Now we have to bring this bracket, this fraction into decimal form. Okay, now let's bring this fraction into decimal form. So the answer will be 0.9647. Okay, now you have to multiply these two. This is as per the BODMAS rule. Okay, so 10 plus 6 into 0.9647. So the answer will be 6 into 0.9647 is equal to 5.7882. Okay, now you have to add 10 plus 5.7882 is equal to 15.788%. Remember to put percent. Okay, so IRR is equal to, therefore IRR is equal to, internal rate of return is equal to 15.788%. Okay, so look at the answer. If you want, you can take the screenshot. Okay, determination of internal rate of return. We have to compute present value of cash inflows at lower rate, that is 10%. After getting the total, then we have to find out present value of cash inflows at higher rate, that is at 16%, right? Then you have to get the value total. Okay, then you have to put the formula. Then after putting the formula, you have to substitute the values here. The lower rate means the percentage given here. Okay, lower rate is 10, higher rate is 16. Okay, the same you have to put 10 plus 16 minus 10 into present value of cash inflows. You have computed, that is the first table value. Then present value minus present value of cash outflow, that is already given in the question, the invested value.
The project cost rupees 16,000. The 16,000 is the cash outflow, right? So that is the cash outflow, present value of cash outflow divided by present value of cash inflows. The same thing, 17,560 minus present value of cash inflows at higher rate. The second table, total value 15,943. The same you have to write, then you have to calculate. Okay, IRR is equal to 15.788%. So this is the answer. I have also provided question number 2. This I won't be solving. This you will be solving, and you have to give the answer of internal rate of return in the comment section. Okay, I will be waiting for your answer. Okay, a project cost 32,400 and it is expected to generate a cash inflow of 16,000, 14,000 and 12,000 at the end of years for the next 3 years. Calculate internal rate of return given PV factors, PV factor at 10% and PV factor at 18%. PV factor at 10% and PV factor at 18% is given. So here lower rate is 10%, higher rate is 18%. Only that you have to keep a note of it. Okay, and the values here also will be changed. Okay, for this question I will be waiting for your answer. So this was all about internal rate of return method. If you have any doubts regarding this method, please be free to put your doubts in the comment section. And if you have understood the video, then please hit the like button and please share it with your friends also. Thank you.